Hey guys, welcome to another episode. So today, I kind of forget where I was. I think I was somewhere in the catacombs. But, got an unidentified item. That's probably what was taking up so much space last time I was playing. Okay, so that's just flat up better. How much damage do I get? Wow. 150 max damage from that? Well, I will take that. Less likely to use this one now, but maybe I have to start using it in hell. We'll see. I don't know what happened when I downloaded the new patch. Oh, by the way, patch 0.5025 is out. But yeah, I finally have the map back the way that, well, I guess I wanted it originally. Which is to take up the whole screen instead of just a corner of it. It just seems to be easier to keep track of it. I'm so used to doing it on my mage in the Hell 1 that I think that's probably why I like it more. Not so much like if I'm playing a melee character, I actually don't find it too bad, but if I'm playing a mage, it kind of helps keep me centered, just because if I'm warping on a particular area, a particular square, I kind of want to know in my, like, proportional to me, like, where my friends are, so I can heal other. But on this character, that's not the case. But it'll be good to get used to it again. I missed a lot of chests over here. So in this build, what happened? There was some talk of increasing the stat limit on certain characters, like changing them by subclass. It wasn't completely done, but it was started. So I'm sure people like Ander will be pretty happy for that. There's something about the max stat points and what the limit is as you level up. And honestly, I didn't really... I felt like it was something just to do with max stats, and it would change just slightly. I didn't like compare it to before. I was too lazy. I just figured eventually I need max stats anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I just got to get to level 46 eventually, regardless. Oof, that's close. Other than that, there was, which I think was good timing, unique gloves added. Just cloth gloves, but there's 10 of them. Originally thought there was only going to be 5 being added, kind of like the amulets, the rings, just kind of 5 to get started, but, well, there's 10, and it leaves quite a bit open. I was surprised at the variety that people were thinking of. I think they started with something to do with like damage to all enemy types. Kind of like that unique ring in the Hell 1 that has like plus to every type of damage. Like 50% to demons, 50% to undead, 10% of 200, 1 to 260, but it has negative 20 to all stats. I think there was an idea like that. Other than that, Yeah, it wouldn't be terrible on my mage. Maybe I'll keep that. It's not terrific, but it's not bad. There's also crit gloves, which I didn't really think that there would be a mixture of crit gloves with attack speed, but Mortar thought of them, so, I mean, that's good. I don't think there'll be any other way to get crit from gloves. And right now, I think from the affix table, I only saw it on weapons, so you have to kind of give up your weapons, or I think there's one other piece you could give up to get crit chance. Oh, it's just perks, actually. So, I would imagine that many people would like to use gloves instead of their main hand weapon, because some of the main hand affixes get pretty good. If you have an axe, you can get like plus 400 damage. Things like that. But when he kind of just like spread out and he was like, alright, just toss ideas in the Discord if you think of anything good. And I was surprised more people weren't making them like direct. Usually it's pretty obvious or evident
now
that
where would I put this?
you know, people have something they want in particular. So they'll make an idea of, you know, oh, I really want like these archer gloves or something. But it seemed like people were just kind of adding whatever. Just kind of thing, just weird affixes. I think a lot of people didn't read the base item list table either. A lot of the affixes suggested weren't really there. Didn't exist anymore, like 50% damage to demons and stuff like that, but nonetheless, more ideas the better, probably. Some of the
I can't carry anymore.
ways that Mortar comes up with items. Oh, one sec, my cat's being a bug. Alright, sorry about that. Is you would think of like an enemy, an NPC in the game, and then essentially what they would, what would be a telling tale of, you know, their personality,
I have no room.
of what they would need or what they would go after if they looked for an item of themselves. And I found it's actually pretty hard, mainly because you have, you know, some characters that are pretty basic. Like if you take any like fairly well-known boss, you're gonna usually come up with the roadblock, I find, of you want to pull their resistances in there. In Doom mode, you know that, say, like, the Butcher takes lightning damage. So you'd say, like, alright, well, I'll make something with, like, fast attack, damage, maybe some crit, and then in exchange I'll have, like, negative lightning resist. But, well, the thing is, -1 resistance is pretty bad, especially when it's a partial resist. So I guess in like the Hell 2 it would be something like -30% to like 1 resistance. It really wouldn't line up with an affix. You know, if you had 1 affix, it would be like plus 60% to 1 resistance, or resist all 18. So if you have like -30% lightning resistance as a malice, or, you know, a negative effect on your gear, you kind of just stuck with -30% lightning resist, or you have to like double down and get like 60% lightning resist. There's no affix that gives you, you know, 30 lightning resist and 30 fire resist. Like, you know, it's never like gonna min-max out perfectly. So that's one of the reasons I wasn't a huge... Oh, elixir magic.
I can't carry
Nice.
anymore.
So that's why I didn't really like that technique. It wasn't bad, like, to get things going, but I think just the resistances I should drop if I think like that. And I guess I sort of knew that that was, like, a strategy, because the Butcher's Robe in the Hell 1, well, it's pretty obvious because, you know, the Butcher's Robe, like, duh, of what it was named after, and the negative lightning resist was fairly evident that it was, you know, describing the Butcher, you know, made after the Butcher. But it was a low-end item, like, it wasn't meant to be an endgame armor, so it sort of gets a pass in my book. But something like Scales of Terror, it's like, you know, that is quite a good endgame armor. It had negative lightning resist, and people are just kind of like stuck with, you know, 50% lightning resist in Doom, which is pretty tough to do. So I'd say like the only way items should get that pass is if there's something quite remarkable or something that really can't be achieved any other way. So if there's like those crit gloves and their negative or their malice was negative lightning resist 30%, it's like, okay, well, that's reasonable because you can't really get crit anywhere else from except weapons. Crit chance, that is, so. But when I was thinking of different ideas, that's a weird way to come to me. A lot of it was trying to jam as many things and as many niches and like useful effects that I would want at this point in the game.
Not enough mana.
But I think it would just kind of is pretty obvious too. Moreover, it's like I kind of see what's happening. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Like I think I was thinking of something for like bows. What any like, you know, because they're cloth gloves, right? So they have to be kind of like unilateral or, you know, made for different different purposes, but across multiple characters would be ideal. And they really got all around me. Holy cow! Could have teleported, but so a lot of ideas sort of came out to be like, you know, what would help, you know, a class that wields bows but just has a difficult time. And for me, it was always I couldn't find a bow that had like damage and triple shot. I mean, knockback was sort of an afterthought. Like, it's not really something I needed, but you know, it's like knockback, triple shot. That's actually like really, really handy. It's like you get all the hard to get apexes out of the way on your gloves. So maybe in a sense that's kind of like overpowered. A lot of that stuff though doesn't really appeal too much to me. I don't think I play a whole lot of rogue. And when I did play, it was mostly glass cannon, which was half frustrating, half awesome.
I have no room.
There were some mage ideas that I had. Mostly things that I'd want on my mage. So I'm pretty sure that there's at least one pair of, like, mage-oriented gloves that I could find. But the only thing is that I don't know the
I have no room.
Q level. Mordor said there was, like, particular levels. They were fairly spread out from what I could see, but I'm not sure where the mage ones fell on that list. So, I guess I'll just have to look everywhere, but... And I guess I don't have to, like, specifically go in one area either. There was a ring in multiplayer that dropped. It was like, it had improvision, 2% lifesteal, increased lifestealing, negative 20 armor class. It just had a whole list of effects, and I didn't really want to gloss it over too much, because we finally found something good, so my buddy, he kind of wanted to keep it, didn't want me to steal it on him, so that's understandable. I'll just get rid of this town portal thing. But that's also something I'd like to find.
Now where would I put this?
Ah, this is so annoying.
Beyond the... Not enough mana. Not enough mana. I have no room.
Well, the stairs are right there, so I'll probably remember to pick up those items. I guess I have a doorway, so I don't really need to worry that much. Just always thinking about the walls that I should use. But I guess the idea of adding another branch of unique items was so that players would have something to come back to. And well, I guess one of my friends playing multiplayer right now kind of had that same gripe. He said he doesn't mind putting in the work for items, but he's sort of caught in this boat right now. He's trying to find, you know, the right ARPG or whatever this genre is particularly called. He wants to find, you know, something with pretty much everything. And he's tried a lot of things. He's tried like Torchlight mods, Diablo 2 mods, Median XL, Path of Diablo, and all that jazz. And it seems everything he tries is missing something or just not quite finished, you know, work in progress. But I mentioned to him that, you know, that's probably a good thing that things are a work in progress. That means that the mod maker still cares, you know, he's still passionate enough to always realize that there's small improvements. They could be minor, but most mod makers will think there's something small they could add. And when you finally say something's finished, it just means, okay, well, there's not really any new content. It takes a very long time for something to reach that. Whereas a lot of mods that I've played, I feel like they're, for the most part, done. Like, I could still play it and feel like, okay, this isn't in beta. This one is kind of in beta. You know, he brought up that, oh, there's not really enough uniques to find. And I mentioned that, 10 vitality. It's actually decent with 2 resists, but I was trying to think who would use that. Maybe a mage? Excuse me. With vitality on a mage doesn't really do anything. It's good DFE and whatever though.
I have no room.
But yeah, basically he just wants to wait until the mod has more, you know, uniques for him to go after. I did mention that it, you know, in the far, far future, 2,000 to 3,000 uniques were planned, but I don't know. People seem to be attached to the idea that you have to find unique items to find, like, you know, useful items. And it's really not the case. There's so many blue items in the mod that are and will be better. And it's always kind of the philosophy, blue items should be the best if you are lucky enough to ever find one.
I have no room. I can't carry anymore.
Chamber of the Bone, I cannot do that yet.
Good day. How may I serve you? Good day. How may I serve you?
Thanks for downloading this mod. I don't know why it's always giving me like issues, but it seems like on the Hell 1, I was able to, I overwrite the folder that this was saved in, but with the Hell 2, I think it's been on 2 separate occasions, it's just led to me having like extreme errors. one time just couldn't get it to run, and the next time it was just giving me black screens every time I tried to load, and then I finally got rid of the black screen, and you know, I joined a friend's game and it was just lagging like crazy. And, you know, it's Diablo 1. It's not really supposed to lag that much, or really at all, to be sure. But anyway, so if you are experiencing difficulties downloading it, I'd try just re-downloading the whole thing in a separate folder. It really doesn't take up that much extra space to try it again, and fixed everything like a charm for me. It just feels kind of silly that, like, you know, you try all these things like running in compatibility mode and stuff like that, and it's really just a faulty download, or I don't know, really something on my end, but that's a decent hidey hole to have. Ah, there he is. Oh wow, that was picture perfect. Recast right there.
Now where would I put this?
Nail with nails. Oh, there we go. That's actually some pretty G damage. I think my other one went up to like 60 something damage, but it only had a 52% chance. So I guess this is the next in line. Even more damage, but only a 43% chance. But honestly, I'd say that if I can get that and just one-shot enemies, that's pretty decent. Or at least have a big enough impact where, I could use thorns again. Make thorns great again. Damage reduction is quite low, but it does have intrinsic thorns damage and the bonus. It's a decent amount of... there's no fire damage on this level from what I can tell, so that's kind of when I want to try it, just to see. Just to see what kind of damage that's like. Part of me wants to swap a weapon out too, but we'll try out just the armor.
I can't carry anymore.
Actually, let's go for it. Which one does more damage? Honestly, probably this one. The damage to demons is only a little bit higher. Oh, of course, there's fire damage now. I guess if the enemies don't hit you, Thorn's damage isn't really doing a whole lot. Alright, well, since there is fire damage and I want to give it another good try here, I'm going to just go inside here. Oh, what? It's actually full. Alright, here we go. Oh boy. 19 monsters. Alright, should get some decent procs going here. Oh yeah, it's actually decent damage, it looks like.
Not enough mana.
Yeah.
I can't carry anymore.
I'm pretty impressed. It's pretty good. I mean, it's hard to beat the damage that you just naturally get from swords. I still don't think it's ready for it, but you know, honestly, that's pretty good considering my helm doesn't even have thorn damage. And it was a good way to waste some healing potions. I guess that was pretty tough. Something... Where'd that sword go? Didn't I... Oh, that's weird. Wonder why it's over there. do feel like I'm missing a lot. I don't know what I want to keep right now. I'm going to try the better damage for right now, then see if the accuracy pays off after. Maybe after a certain point, you know, just getting more damage really doesn't hold a candle to actually hitting the enemies to do your damage. Shift key just stops working after a while. It's such a hassle.
Now where would I put this?
2% mana steal is usually overboard on many things. Usually 1% from a unique would be ideal with most classes. Like even on the assassin, I feel like you wouldn't need 2%.
I can't carry anymore.
But only 28 plus to vitality. I forget if vitality goes up to plus 40 on rings. And even if it did, it's like, who are you really looking at? Like paladin and gladiator subclasses, not really people who would benefit from having 2% lifesteal. Mana steal, I mean. I don't think I'll keep it. Alright, we'll try the accuracy. My damage is... what the heck? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's not going to show the demon damage that I do.
Now where would I put this?
Lightning Nova. Saves a lot of money if I can get that. Arcane Star. I just don't think I'm going to pick it up. It's fairly common from what I could tell. I was doing a bunch of shrine runs on my mage, gathering bookshelves, and seemed to have an excess number of those and heal other. Not too many should be able to fire from me over here. I guess another issue is that I'm gonna have... my stats are gonna be too high to find a lot of those unique cloth gloves. In single player at least. In multiplayer I'll be able to find them. Well, actually I don't know. Yeah, because all the like gloves I've been finding have been chainmail and like the buzzards and stuff, so I guess I kind of shafted myself there. Well, there's nothing I could do. Like naturally when I level, if I want to wear gear, I'm gonna have to add into... I think they take vitality to wear strength and vitality gloves, so... Yeah, I just might not be able to find those unique gloves. That's a real shame. I didn't really think about that. It's kind of a bummer. Yeah, I think on normal mode there's like 2% chance of getting a unique, something pretty low. So it wouldn't be a great idea for me to try and farm it, that's for sure. And naturally, killing stuff in normal is quite boring. I'd have to just keep making new characters and kind of hope I stumble upon them.
I have no room.
Or make like a low-level mage, get him to like level 13. Serenity up and just add into magic so that I could find like low-level gloves, maybe in Purgatory. I don't know. That's stretching it. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Regeneration affixes, I think, just got flat out doubled. Which, well, I think is kind of necessary. Just because, like, all the deductions they get from the crypt and whatever I've said before, it just seems kind of like regeneration is in need of a bonus. I still don't think it'll take off, but, you know. Who's to say the new meta, what it'll be. It's a different mod after all.
I can't carry anymore.
Another one of those bosses, alright. Actually, I guess I can get rid of this. It's pretty good armor, but, well, it's kind of tough to compete with 2 affixes, so I'll lay it to rest for now. Plus 20 magic, and they are generic, so eventually most classes will be able to wear those. Plus 20 just doesn't seem high enough.
Now where would I put this?
Minions all the way back here. I wonder how they got way back here. Ooh, fire blast.
I have no room.
Seems like there's a short supply of those in multiplayer. I'm always having to buy them. Book of healing. That one I could maybe use. Well, anyway, I have way too many books, so I'm definitely gonna have to make a drop off in town. I will catch you guys next time.